Isiah, 12 months ago at this time, you were 7th-round draft pick. You had to prove yourself. Now you're here 12 months later. In between, you got to be the starting running back for a Super Bowl champion Chief and score a touchdown. What does it mean to have 300 kids here at Olathe practicing at your training camp? What's it mean just after one season?
It's a great feeling to be out here to, to show my face and to have the support behind me like this. It's an amazing feeling because I was a kid that, went to camps like this to support whoever was it may be that had the camp for the younger generation. And for me, I was in the same position, the same shoes, and wishing to achieve my goals. And, Super Bowl champ rookie year is a great feeling. And now I'm back here with the kids. In Kansas, it's a great feeling. I'm blessed to be here, man.
What's that other stadium in the NFL that you like? Oh, I can't wait to, step foot in there and step on that field. Well, what other field is that in what city?
Actually, I can't wait for the Germany game.
Whoa, Germany!
That's going to be a whole different. You get to play in everybody else's stadium, but being able to play in Germany, that's a different feeling. Not everybody gets to experience that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm trying to appreciate that one. You have the country and a new culture. That's a different vibe. You can't always say that.
Well, Wanya, since you did bring up that game in Germany, the locker room is going to tell you about Tyreek Hill talking smack. Tyreek Hill's already said he's going to beat the Chiefs when he plays them, and they ended up scheduling that game in Germany. So be ready for that trash talking, which I'm sure you will. But if you can give some trash talking back to Tyreek Hill, we would greatly appreciate it.
I'm gonna have to run to the other sideline and do that one, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
What the Chiefs did was they marched in during that offseason quarterbacks Chris Chandler, Heath Shuler, and Elvis Gerback. When they marched those quarterbacks in to see if they wanted to be the starting quarterback, did you get any say-so in that, Tim? Did Marty Schottenheimer come to you and say, hey, Tim, who do you like, Chris Chandler, Heath Shuler, or Elvis Gerback? And did you feel that Rich Gannon got kind of shelved because he pulled his hamstring when he finally became the starter? How did that go about, Tim?
Yeah, you know what? Rich Gannon, what a great competitor. I talk about in the book. He just commanded so much respect in the huddle, and the guys loved him. And then nothing against Elvis. And listen, Elvis had some great years here. But Rich was really kind of our guy, the offensive lines guy. That offense was geared and loved Rich Gannon. No, to answer your question, I don't think they had that kind of poll that Marty Schottenheimer would ask me any questions. You got the Lamar, Patrick Mahomes now, I think, probably has a little bit of say of what wide receivers coming in, maybe offensive linemen. And then LeBron James, obviously, he's basically the GM of his team. So those superstars, they didn't ask offensive linemen. I never got to dictate who's going to put his hands between my legs. I was just glad there were hands there. You know what I mean?
When Joe Pendry left and Paul Hackett took over, since you are talking specifically about, audibles that Joe Montana called, did you feel, was the playbook bigger under Paul Hackett than it was with Joe Pendry, JJ?
No, it was just a different offense. It was the West Coast offense. The difference is the quarterback, Montana, had more freedom to make more calls, to make more audibles, to make more adjustments. Where, when Pendry was there, it was a different offense. It was Marty ball, it was smash mouth, it was ball control. So the quarterbacks didn't have as much flexibility. But you could pretty much tell that, they gave Joe Montana the freedom to make any adjustment he felt was necessary.
Sports, and we're thrilled to have you. Now, Pat, the question I have for you is, when it comes time to believe in what goes on in a player's heart, regardless of the circumstances that they had to endure to achieve their goals, you still believe in it. Let's go back to 15 months ago when I was a guest on the Big Mahomes Show. You and I broke down the Kansas City Chiefs 2022 NFL Draft. We spent a lot of time talking about the draft picks, but we spent also a great deal of time about the signing of one wide receiver, Justin Ross. We spent time breaking down his potential as well as his injury and what he could be once he got better. And 15 months later, here we are. He's making plays. He dealt with the foot injury. And I want to talk about something that you touched on with Linda Dorsey and Tanisha Mahomes on Two Gems and a Mic. Make sure and check out Two Gems and a Mic with the diva Tanisha Mahomes as well as Linda. You touched on it as well. You continue to talk about Justin Ross practicing with Patrick. You continue to talk about everything about his potential. I'm still excited about Justin Ross because of his potential and what we talked about that day. You know, I went ahead and created a Justin Ross fan page, and you and Clay Windler were the first 2 members to join. We're up to 1,600 now, and I can't thank you enough for believing in the kid going back 15 months. Now, what have you seen from what you know now, from what you touched on with Two Gems on a Mic and knowing that he's been practicing with Patrick all offseason? How do you feel about what you've seen of Justin Ross in the first 2 preseason games, Pat?
Well, what I see is a very explosive player. You know, a player that's is a great route runner, has an idea of what he's doing out there. I really thought he would have been great last year, you know, without the injury. Same thing. He'd have been a high draft pick if he wouldn't have had the serious injury in college. And I've seen him out working with Patrick, you know, Patrick throwing routes to him and watching the chemistry build and everything like that. And whenever Patrick starts to build chemistry with a guy, that normally, you know, leads to good things, kind of like the same way he did with Travis. So I'm expecting very, very big things. I think he's going to be a breakout player this year. I think Sky Moore is going to be a great player this year. I think they have some weapons. I mean, people are sleeping on the Chiefs, talking about the receivers and everything. But one thing I've said about, you know, Patrick Mahomes, my son, since he came into the NFL, I mean, I remember having a conversation with Travis Kelce after the first game when Kelce caught like 3 passes for like 39 yards or something like that, and he was a little down. And I told him then, I said, I can tell you one thing about my son. It doesn't matter what number you got on your back. If you get open, he's going to get you the ball. And I see Justin Ross as a guy that's going to get open, and I think he's going to catch a lot of footballs this year.